Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining. This video marks the beginning of a video series titled Agentic AI Engineering, part of the next intelligence. Each video in this series will focus on a broad domain related to how AI is evolving from systems that generate outputs into systems that act, persist, and participate in real world environments. This first video is intentionally foundational. Its purpose is not to teach tools or frameworks, but to establish a conceptual ground that we will build on throughout this video series. To understand why such foundation is even necessary, we first need to look at what has changed in AI itself. For a long time, AI systems were evaluated almost entirely by the quality of their outputs. Accuracy, fluency, and relevance were the dominant metrics. But today, AI systems are increasingly deciding what to do next, executing actions, and continuing over time. Once that happens, errors are no longer disappearing after one response. They accumulate and they propagate. And that's where we start to notice this shift from intelligent systems into acting entities. This video will introduce agentic AI engineering itself. So we will start by answering three main questions. What is agentic AI? What do agency identity and accountability really mean in this context? And what are the core building blocks that define this field? Think of this as a map that we will build together in this video, and then later videos will explore the territory for each part of this map. So, what is agentic AI? Agentic AI refers to systems that can pursue goals, make decisions, and act persistently in a real-world environment, where while remaining observable, controllable, and accountable. Each part of this definition really matters because these systems are not just models, they are not just prompts, they are not just automations. Agentic systems do not stop when an output is generated. Actually, they continue operating, they decide what to do next, they act through tools, APIs, workflows, and through coordination with other agentic systems. And once AI systems act continuously in the world, the central problem shifts from being is the output correct? Only that question. To how does the system evolve and behave over time? And that brings us to actually to a main question here to that we need to answer. What really makes agentic system agentic? Why we call agentic systems agentic, and what makes them carry this quality or characteristics? First, it has to be goal oriented, not prompt bound. The system is oriented towards outcomes, not individual requests. Second, it has to persist across interactions. It carries state, memory, and context forward. And we need to focus here on relevant state, memory, and context, not everything that happens in the world around the agent. Third, it decides what to do next. It's not fully scripted step by step, for sure. And fourth, it adapts based on the outcomes. Its future behavior is shaped by its past actions and by the evolution of the environment and the context around the agent. And finally, it must remain controllable, accountable, because without this accountability and control, autonomy becomes a risk rather than a capability. So, agency is not a single feature, it's a structural property that emerged when these elements work together over time. At this point, a deeper distinction becomes unavoidable, one that sits at the heart of this entire discipline, and which is the distinction between intelligence and agency. It's critical to separate these two concepts that are often confused. Intelligence represents the world, it generates possibilities, it describes the world in general, while agency chooses actions, it commits over time, and it produces consequences. In other words, an intelligent system can tell you what could be done, while an agent must decide what will be done, and then to live with the result of what has been done. This is the key transition that we are witnessing today. AI systems are moving from describing the world to participating in it, to take a position and a perspective towards the world. Once agency is understood in this way, a new set of questions will immediately follow. How does agency stabilize? And how does entity emerge? So, as we can see, agency is not static, it will develop over time. Think about the human agency. In humans, agency develop gradually. Early action in children are mostly reactive and inconsistent, but over time, memory, learning, feedback stabilize the behavior, and identity emerges as patterns of actions become recognizable. In agentic system, the agency follows the same structural logic. So identity is not in agentic system is not personality; it's mostly the behavioral continuity of the agent. It emerges from persistent memory, stable goals structures, consistent decision policies, and learned preferences and constraints of the environment. Without identity, agentic system cannot be trusted. And without continuity, they cannot be governed. And once identity exists, responsibility is no longer abstract. It becomes concrete. And here it comes to agency implies accountability. At minimum, an agent must be accountable to itself, to its goals, its past decisions, and to the constraints imposed on it. And in real world deployments, agents must also be accountable to others, to other agents when they work in multi agent environments, and also to humans, to organizations, to institutions, to value frameworks, legal frameworks, and so on. And such accountability requires memory of actions, requires traceability of decisions, and the ability to explain and justify behavior. Without such accountability, agency becomes opaque, and opaque system undermine trust, safety, and legitimacy. And we don't want agentic systems such as that. All of this brings us to a crucial realization. If AI is becoming agentic, then this is no longer just a research question or a tooling challenge. It's mostly a design issue. It's becoming an engineering issue. And that such engineering problem emerged because actions have consequences over time, because agency requires system level design, not only model tuning, because failure in such system is inevitable and must be designed for, because observability and control are mandatory, because behavior changes when the components change, because safety and governance must be excusable. In general, in short, once systems act, engineering discipline becomes unavoidable. So, how we approach this engineering challenge in a structured and responsible way. Here, I put together a small map. We will start with some basics about agentic AI. Then we will move through core components like intent understanding, reasoning engines, memory systems, and tool use. We will explore multiple frameworks to understand architectural design patterns and how we can make those core components actually implemented in operational way. Then we will move into agentic capabilities such as planning, knowledge management, execution, collaboration, working in multi-agent environments, and recovery from failure and error handling, and how we will implement all of these capabilities through the frameworks that we explored just before. And from there, we will address agentic DevOps, monitoring, versioning, infrastructure as a code, CI/CD for agentic behavior, and finally, we'll focus on some safety and governance considerations, permissions, guardrails, ethics, validation, uh, red teaming, and compliance, having human in the loop, and all of these elements that will ensure the safety of our agentic systems. Each of these areas will be explored in depth in the next videos. And with this roadmap in mind, we will build the next videos more in details, more deeper, to cover the conceptual, theoretical, and practical elements of each of them. For today, that's the video that we will close here this introduction by returning just to the bigger picture. This video was mostly about orientation, not to provide answers. It will set the view for the upcoming videos in the series. As we have seen here, AI systems are becoming actors within human systems, within human environments. They are part of it. They are not tools within it. They are part of the system, the environment. And when that happens, intelligence alone is no longer the hard problem. Agency and identity are. The rest of the series will explore how agency can be designed, constrained, observed, governed without losing control. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to continuing this journey in the next video.